There we go. Hey, Bundle of Dragons, how's it going? I don't know what it is. I, slept on my shoulder wrong. I had something my right shoulder is all messed up for some reason. I have no idea what I did. Tired? Yeah, I get tired. Oh my god. Okay, we don't have to listen to a Splat announcement. Let's just jump in and start running games. We do actually have some Splatoon news, interestingly enough. Even though the game was supposed to die last month, somehow it lived. And we do have some Splatoon news later tonight. So that should be fun. So what are the things tonight? Oh gosh, I can stay awake. So we do have a few things to talk about. Nintendo announced their next piece of hardware. What a big deal that is. So we'll talk about that. Other things you gotta talk about. They're doing this mysterious Nintendo Switch Online playtest program. And I have a bit of speculation about it. Nothing, admittedly, other people probably haven't already said. But I've got my thoughts on that, so we'll definitely talk about that. And then we've got some Splatoon news, because, yeah, there's somehow news. And other than, you know, the next piece of Nintendo hardware having Splatoon on it. Again, we'll get to it. I'm having way too much fun. And then we've got some food news. Yeah, no, we actually... We have food news from the main 3 burger joints. All of them released something this week, which is kind of crazy. Like, I cannot think of the last time the big 3 burger joints released something all within, like, a week of each other. Within, honestly, within, not even a week, within, like, 2 days of each other. It's kind of wild. And I have tried all 3, so of course we will talk about all 3. So we got that. And then, Echoes of Wisdom. We gotta talk about the one video game I've been playing, Echoes of Wisdom. We do gotta talk about that. And I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 other things, I think. Maybe small things. I kinda don't remember. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. The Legend of Link. Zelda of Zelda. Yeah, when we talk about Zelda in a little bit, I might have to get into spoilers. I have some thoughts. Don't worry, Zelda's actually the protagonist. Yeah. Yeah, I've got some thoughts on that game that I do kind of want to talk about, but they're all very spoiler heavy. So maybe later on we will talk about that, but I will definitely give a warning about that, because I know people are still playing it. Is it lagging? Yeah, we'll do that later. And then anything else? I can't think of anything else. I think those are just the main pieces of news. You know, Nintendo keeps us busy. That's their job. They gotta keep us busy. And that's why, I know last week we tried to play Fall Guys, and it just wasn't working. Like, last week it was like, oh, let's do Fall Guys. And then it just refused to work. This week I was like, I'm not even gonna try. Especially because most of the news this week is Nintendo related. I was like, you know, let's stick with a Nintendo game. Maybe that's how I should structure the news. If we're doing Nintendo news stories, we do Splatoon. If we're doing PlayStation stories, we do Fall Guys, and then I just have to find an Xbox game. If we're doing Xbox stories, we'll do... I don't know, maybe that'll get us to play Fortnite. Maybe we'll finally play some Fortnite fight. We'll play Multiverses. Yeah, right. Is anyone still playing Multiverses? Does anyone even play that game? Does anyone play... I can't even think of another game. I know people play Fortnite. I know at least a few people are on Fall Guys when it works. What's another game people play? Like, oh, maybe we'll play Concord. I think I've heard all this stuff about this PlayStation game called Concord. I'm sure it's a massive success. I think it does sound. It says everything's fine on my end. Yeah, maybe we'll try Concord. I know PlayStation just had its big hit Astrobot, but hopefully that didn't overshadow their other game, Concord, which I'm sure went on to be a massive success that had hundreds of thousands of players playing it on Steam. It's not like PlayStation would completely abandon a game 2 to 3 weeks after launch. That'd be crazy. Internet, if I had any. Yeah. I guess there are completely unrelated. Before we actually start the new stuff, I guess there was a thing like Concord's PlayStation Store page recently updated, or maybe it was its Steam page. Something to do with Concord updated recently that hints that, hey, you know what? Concord may actually be coming back sooner rather than later as a free-to-play game. Will that save Concord? No. I do think Concord... You know, PlayStation spent millions of dollars on this game, and it's completely fucked. Like, forever. Like, Concord is completely screwed forever. Because, yeah, sure, they can make the game free-to-play, they can give it to everyone, they can forcefully download it on your consoles. Like that one time Apple forcefully downloaded a U2 song on everyone's iPhones. Like, they can do that, but Concord's brand image is so badly damaged that I don't think there's any coming back from it. I don't think anything they do will actually make people like Concord. I think they're just kind of screwed. God, $800 million. That's just down the drain. Or some ridiculous number like that. I admittedly don't remember the exact number, but whatever it is, yeah, no, that's effectually wasted. God, imagine how many other things PlayStation could have done with that money. But no. So instead of talking PlayStation, let's talk about Nintendo. So Nintendo announced their new piece of hardware, right? There's been throughout this entire week. I don't know if you've been paying attention. There have been the writings on the wall that Nintendo was going to announce some new piece of hardware, right? The stars were aligned, there were signs, where it was like Nintendo was clearly going to announce something. And of course, you know, the Switch 2, right around the corner, releasing next year, everyone thought, oh yeah, it would make perfect sense for Nintendo to reveal the Switch 2. All the writing was on the wall. It made sense as an announcement. That's what everyone thought it was going to be. And the prediction was 10/10. That we were going to wake up Thursday morning, or maybe go to bed Thursday night, and Nintendo was going to drop the trailer for Switch 2. That was the speculation. And then on 10/9, the day before, Nintendo, that around the same time they drop everything, drops their new trailer for their new piece of hardware, the Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo. Oh my gosh! A sound clock! I can't believe they call it a sound clock. Like, I feel like that's the one... Like, Alarmo is a stupid name. We all know Alarmo is a stupid name. I think that's generally agreed upon. Right? Not that I hate it. It's just... It's dumb. And you know what? I can like a dumb name. Why is nobody pointing out that they didn't call it, like, an alarm clock or anything? They call it a sound clock. Nintendo! What are you doing, Nintendo? So... So, how do I even start with this? So, Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo. So, the guys over at Kinda Funny have coined the term WND. Weird Nintendo Decision. Right? Instead of a weapon of mass destruction, it's a weird Nintendo decision. And Nintendo loves to make weird Nintendo decisions. They have made many weird Nintendo decisions for the past 100 years, but just in the past 50 years, and even in the past 7, right, that the Switch has been out. Nintendo loves to make weird Nintendo decisions. Be that the Virtual Boy, the GameCube using little mini discs, Nintendo Labo, the entire existence of the Wii U's Fisher-Price gamepad. Nintendo loves to make weird Nintendo decisions. In this one, Nintendo Alarmo, I don't think it's the top of it, because I still think Cardboard is weirdo. Labo is weirder. But this one is up there. And I think it's up there because of the Nintendo Switch stuff. There's all this speculation. You know, people are super anticipating the next Nintendo Switch console. And nope. Instead, we get an alarm clock with little Nintendo characters on it. And when you move around in bed, it makes the coin sound from Mario. Or the ink shooting sound from Splatoon. It's a little digital alarm clock. The weirdest decision in the world. And there were actually hints about this. Back in 2020, Nintendo actually patented this idea. They patented an alarm clock that, like, made sounds when you moved in bed. And right, Nintendo files weird patents all the time. Again, let's not forget the one leading up to the Switch's release that was, hey, it's a screen with buttons in it. And everyone thought that, hey, maybe the Switch is going to use this patent. It didn't, and so far Nintendo has never used that patent. But yeah, this had been hinted at. And Nintendo's clearly been working on this for a long time. And around the same time they released the Alarmo trailer, they also released a developer interview where the developers sit down and talk about making this Alarmo thing. And actually, one of the problems they encountered was COVID. They've been working on this thing since before COVID. Oh yeah, Nintendo love hotels. Yeah, you're totally right about that. Nintendo, to be fair, it was a very different time in Japan. But yeah, no, Nintendo love hotels is a great point. Alarmo is just a clock. Yeah. So yeah, so it's this Nintendo alarm clock. It's just weird. It's very weird. My first thought with this... So I haven't really explained how the product works. Just for people who haven't seen the trailer. Basically, it's an alarm clock you set by your bed, and it plays Nintendo sounds when you wake up. Not a terrible idea. Not an alarm clock that plays Nintendo sounds would be like, oh, this is a cute little novelty thing I bought at the Nintendo store. But it's got a lot more functionality than that, right? It has a motion sensor in it. It does not have a video camera. I have to be very clear about that. It's a motion sensor, and when you, like, roll around in bed, when you move, it makes sound. So if you got, like, Mario, it makes the coin collecting sound. If you've got Splatoon, it makes, like, the sound of, like, the splatter shot shooting ink. If you've got Zelda, it makes the sound of, like, collecting rupees or maybe collecting Korok seeds. I'm not entirely sure. Each game has like 5 different scenarios you can choose from. They do different things, and right as time goes on and like you refuse to wake up, the sounds get like more intense. Like in the Mario one, if you wait too long, it plays the Bowser theme, right? To be like, hey, get up. And then, of course, once you actually do finally get up, the alarm automatically turns off. Which, that is cool, right? That if you're going to put a motion sensor and, right, all this technology in it, having a motion sensor, having it turn off when you actually get up, good. I like that. I like the idea of just being able to get up and the alarm automatically turns off. That seems convenient. So there are 5 themes. There's Mario, Zelda, Splatoon. All those themes make perfect sense. I've talked in the past about how Nintendo's big 4 franchises are Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, and Animal Crossing. So if you had asked me what 4 sounds would I have put in this thing at launch, I would have said Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, and Animal Crossing. And then if you had asked me for a 5th one, I would have said Pikmin, but that's because I'm a huge Pikmin fan. So it actually really surprises me that no, Animal Crossing is not in this thing at launch. It will be coming later, but it is not in this thing at launch. That's Nintendo's, I'd say their 3rd biggest franchise. Mario in 1st, Zelda in 2nd, Animal Crossing in 3rd, Splatoon in 4th. I would be for sure think that Animal Crossing would be here. This fits the Animal Crossing aesthetic. An Animal Crossing alarm clock. No. Instead, they go with Pikmin, which, don't get me wrong, I am very glad that Pikmin is here. I like Pikmin. If I do pick this thing up, which we'll talk about price here in a minute, I would use the Pikmin sound. I think Pikmin is very neat. I love Pikmin games. So that's cool. But the 5th sound, right? So you think, oh, well, okay, they put Pikmin as the 4th. Is the 5th one Animal Crossing? No. The 5th one is Ring Fit Adventure. And I think that's the most telling of all of this. The fact that the last one is Ring Fit Adventure tells you what kind of audience Nintendo is giving this to. Right? What type of people they want to be buying this. Because I don't know if people know this, Ring Fit Adventure sold like 20 million units. Ring Fit Adventure did surprisingly well for Nintendo. I mean, I bought one just to kind of check it out, which, to be fair, I didn't do about Labo. I did not buy a Labo. I bought Ring Fit Adventure just because I was kind of curious. And it was also like 70% off. But no, Ring Fit Adventure has sold insanely well. Because, I mean, one of the best-selling games of all time is Wii Fit. People like fitness games. People like that, right? The fact that Just Dance was getting games on the Wii well into 2020 is all the proof you need. People like those fitness games. People like Nintendo, when the Wii U was failing, Nintendo wanted to shift their brand over to making, right, games, of course, but also making quality of life stuff. And this is one of those quality of life things. I think this fits like Nintendo in the past, most of the quality of life stuff is like pedometers and whatnot. I think this fits in perfectly well with their quality of life stuff, like the pedometers and whatnot. I honestly think this is very fitting into that. Because there is a sleep tracker in this, right, that like monitors your sleep, sees how you're moving around, how you're rolling, and unlike Fitbit, which collects your data and sends it to health insurance companies, allegedly, I don't think Nintendo's going to be sending your data to health insurance companies. Especially because in theory, you can turn this thing offline. And of course, that means you won't get updates. Maybe they are. Maybe there's somewhere in the terms of service it says it'll send your data to health insurance companies. But if anyone's not going to send your data to health insurance companies, the most evil people on the planet, I could see it being Nintendo. I could see Nintendo doing a good job with this. So yeah, this is their quality of life thing, and Ring Fit Adventure being in here, right? This is meant for people who like Ring Fit Adventure, who like the quality of life stuff, who, care about getting good sleep. Because getting good sleep is, like, super important. Trust me, as someone who has bad sleep, getting good sleep I know matters a lot, which is why I wish I could fix my bad sleep. It's just nothing I try works. And I don't think an alarm clock is going to change that. But, you know, it's a neat idea. So yeah, I definitely think this is a very weird product. Especially for Nintendo. This is the strangest thing in the world. But Nintendo likes to do strange stuff. Them making an alarm clock doesn't surprise me at all. Right? Like, it's... Again, if this was released, like, 10 years ago, back when the Wii U was, you know, on the verge of collapsing Nintendo, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense, you know? Because Nintendo has been making clocks for as long as they have been making video games. Because, guess what? The Game & Watch was a game that came alongside a watch. That's what it was, a pocket watch that had a little video game on it. Nintendo's been doing this forever. Of course, I'm actually surprised there isn't like a little... Like, remember how Nintendo made that jump rope game? I'm amazed there isn't like a jump rope style little game that comes alongside this alarm clock. Because, you know, Nintendo loves to do stupid shit like that. So yeah, this is this is definitely a very weird thing. A weird Nintendo decision for sure. One of their weirdest. And the timing of this is awful, right? The timing of them revealing this thing is terrible. I don't actually think it's a terrible product. Supposedly it's sold out in Japan. Like, this thing, like, to the Japanese people, Nintendo making an alarm clock that plays Mario sounds is the coolest thing in the world. And yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of see that. So yeah, no wonder this thing sold out instantly in Japan. In America, as far as I know, you can still buy one. And there's two places you can buy it right now. You can either buy it online if you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription service. You do not need a Nintendo Online subscription service to use this thing. I want to be very clear about that. I've seen some confusion of people thinking that, oh, I have to buy the alarm clock, and then I have to pay for Nintendo Switch Online to use it. No, you do not have to do that. This is purely a Nintendo Switch, right? It's basically just to limit the release, so that way, you know, scalpers don't buy it. If they can limit people to having a Nintendo Switch Online account, that greatly limits the amount of people who can, like, try to scalp it. So that's probably why they did it. Yeah, that's another great point. To a 5-year-old, this would be the coolest thing in the world. An alarm clock that woke you up to Mario music? Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. I mean, I as a kid, I had like an alarm clock that had like blue lights, and it wasn't like it wasn't a Nixie tube alarm clock, but it was like trying to emulate that style, and I always thought it was really cool. I always thought it was a really cool alarm clock. If they could put a radio in this thing, or give it access to like Nintendo Spotify, that would be amazing. But I don't know. We'll see about that. We'll talk about Nintendo Spotify here in a second when we get to our next story. But yeah, so I think the big thing holding this up for people, and the big thing holding it up for me, is the price. The price of this Nintendo Switch alarm clock. It's an alarm clock, right? I know it's got these motion sensors. It's got all these fancy bells and whistles. If you had asked me to guess the price, I probably would have said like $50. I know $50 is a lot, but I would have been like, you know, it's got all these fancy bells and whistles in it. It's got the Nintendo upcharge. $50 seems about a good price. Boy, was I off. Oh my god, this thing is actually $100. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's gonna kill it instantly. $100 Nintendo alarm clock is a lot of money. $100 is two of these things is the same price as a Switch Lite. That's gonna kill it for a lot of people. And I don't blame them, like, for that being like the death nail for them, Because, yeah, that price point is very steep. $250. I mean, I've seen Switch Lites. I was at Best Buy the other week, and they had Switch Lites for $200. So yeah, just 2 of these is a Switch Lite. At least, again, they might have been on sale, but yeah, 3 of them is a Switch, and 3.5 is a Switch OLED. You can. Would you rather buy one PS4? Would you rather buy one PS5 Pro or 7 Nintendo Alarmos? It's up to you to decide. What are you gonna choose, gamers? There's another product that's extremely overpriced. Oh my god. Nintendo fucking Alarmo. So yeah, the price point's gonna kill it for a lot of people. But I'm pretty sure everybody, at least I can think of somebody where I'm like, yeah, they're gonna buy this and they're gonna have a great time with this. Right? My first concern is, okay, so when I first got a smartphone, and it was like, oh yeah, you know, I can set, because right now, that's how I wake up. I wake up to, like an alarm clock on my phone. And when I like first got my first smartphone, God, years ago, and I started waking up to it, one of the things I was told was you should never take a song you like and set it as your ringtone or as your alarm, because you will grow to hate that song. I feel like there's Shen, the guy, the comic guy, Shen, made a comic about this once where it's like, never set a song you like to the song you wake up for, because it will just fill you with dread for the rest of your life. It ruins that song. So, right, that's why my alarm is always just the generic alarm sound, like the default one. But it kind of makes, like, if I had one of these, and let's say I set it to Pikmin, when I play Pikmin games, is like the steady strum of Pikmin music just gonna fill me with anxiety now? Because that's the sound I used to wake up to? Like, I'll give you my personal example. So, in the show Steven Universe, Steven has a ringtone that he uses as the background for a song in the Season 2 premiere. I can't actually play the song, obviously, but right, you hear Steven's ringtone in the Season 2 premiere. And after that episode came out, I set that song as a ringtone, and now I cannot watch that episode anymore. Because whenever I hear that song, it makes me think my phone is ringing, and that fills me with anxiety. That episode is forever ruined for me, because Steven's ringtone is my ringtone. Setting the KSI song, that's good. But yeah, so it's just general, right, don't set a song you like as your alarm. And I think that's a good point, and so on that end, I get what Nintendo's trying to do. Like, hey, if you wake up every morning to, like, nice, fun Nintendo music, you're starting the day off on a good note. But I worry that this is just gonna ruin that Nintendo music for me forever. Am I going to never want to hear Jump Up Superstar ever again? Like, that's totally possible. That song will just fill me with existential dread. Yeah, so I feel like, again, maybe this works great. Right, it's clear that the developers have put a lot of time into this. They've tried to make something that works really well. Maybe they've thought about this, and maybe that's a non-issue. But I could see it being an issue, and there's only, like, one real way to, like, test it and find out. So, I mean, we'll have to see. I know, I've already seen, right, so they're selling this online. And then I know Nintendo's also been selling it at their Nintendo World Store. I know some people do already have access to it. I think CNET put out a good video on it, where they kind of unboxed it, showed what's in it, and kind of tested it out. So if you want, right, some people have already started messing with it. One of the first things people pointed out is that it should make the Guardians theme from Breath of the Wild. Yeah, you can have it shuffle as well. And I know shuffling is an option, right? But I've seen people say, like, hey, we should have it play the Guardian theme from Breath of the Wild, which the Guardian theme is like this very tense piece of music. And I think that's a fantastic idea. I honestly think having the Guardian, like, just the anxiety that would give you, and be like, yes, you have to wake up, a Guardian's going to be shooting a laser at you. Sounds like real horrifying, but I also really love that idea. So, I mean, I'm sure as people test out, that might already be in the thing, that might not be. I don't know, I saw one video where they did that, where they did the Guardian theme, and I don't know if it was being honest or not. I don't know if that's actually a thing. I know it plays the Bowser song. I know if you do the Splatoon Salmon Run one, it does the, Extreme. It does the, you know, the where you fight, Kohozuna. It does that song in the Splatoon one. I know, what was the other one? I think the Pikmin one plays the boss music, where if you encounter, like, a boss floor, it plays that song. So they're clearly using boss themes, and the Guardian theme is kind of like a boss theme. I find it interesting, because, and the other reason why I think the Guardian theme might be in there, is because the theme is specifically Breath of the Wild. It's not Tears of the Kingdom, it's Breath of the Wild. I could see them adding Tears of the Kingdom as a separate theme in the future. But it is specifically Breath of the Wild, so there's, I think, a decent chance that the Guardian theme might actually be in there. And, right, you just wake up to that piano and, oh, it jets you awake. I think it'd be neat. Am I actually going to buy this thing? Probably not. If it was cheaper, if this thing was cheaper, I would for sure buy this. Even just to say I have it, right? One of those pieces of Nintendo history where it's just like, oh yeah, I've got, you know, an NES Zapper. I've got a Wavebird controller, right? It's just kind of one of those, like, weird pieces of Nintendo history where it'd be like, yeah, that'd be cool to own. But at $100, that's very steep. And I don't think so. I don't think I'll be buying this. Maybe if it goes on sale. So we do know, of course, they did also announce that other themes are coming. Animal Crossing will be coming, which makes perfect sense. Would do it for shits and giggles. If it was a little cheaper, I would totally, but at $100, it's just too much. Probably. So we know Animal Crossing's coming, and we know Mario Kart's coming. Those two themes make perfect sense. Other themes I would love to see in this thing. I think Tears of the Kingdom has a good chance of being, like, a separate Zelda theme. I think Tears of the Kingdom has a decent chance. I could see them doing, like, other Mario ones, like a Paper Mario, a Mario and Luigi, I could see them doing some other, like, a Luigi's Mansion one where it plays the ghost sounds. Because another thing in this is it has sleepy sounds, which is like, you know, white noise. It's got Nintendo white noise. I don't sleep with... So I'm one of those people where when I sleep, I like to have some sort of noise on in the background. Usually, like, back when I was a kid, I would put on, like, some, like, Nickelodeon or whatnot, and then you'd wake up to George Lopez at, like, 3 a.m. in the morning. Right, I have that memory. I know everybody does, but yeah, I especially have that George Lopez memory. That, and waking up to, like, Family Guy on Adult Swim at, like, 5 a.m. That's another one I have. There's a few other things like that. Oh, my friend, get a little higher. Low rider. Yeah, the George Lopez thing. There's a memory, man. That takes me back. I actually really liked that show as a kid. But yeah, I got lost track. So I could... What was I saying? Other themes. A Kirby one. They have to do a Kirby one. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, I think, would make the most sense. Star Allies, yeah, sure. It's probably going to be mostly Switch themes. Metroid Dread. Oh my god, using the EMEO music would be horrifying. Like the EMEO chase music, love that idea. Oh, I was talking about sleep sounds, right? Luigi's Mansion sleep sounds, like with the eerie ghost music. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I think Luigi's Mansion makes sense. Kirby would be great. And I've Forgotten Lands has a decent soundtrack, if I remember correctly. Astrobot. I mean, it's the most Nintendo game not made by Nintendo. Oh, I'm so dead. Wow. God. Other themes... I would love a Rhythm Heaven one, but I don't know how you... Like, what would that be? Like, would they just do Rhythm Heaven Fever? Like the Wii game? I don't know, because I mostly think it would be Switch games. But, I mean, I guess you could do, you know, Ocarina, Mario 64. You can kind of do whatever you want. Like, there are no rules for this. Wii Sports? Sure, why not? It plays the bowling sound. The stressful sound is the bowling sound when you throw it in the wrong direction. And when you get up, it like makes the strike sound. Yeah, that'd be funny. That'd be cute. I could see that, actually. I don't know, there's a lot of potential here. It just matters what they're gonna do with it. I don't know, it's so weird. It's such a weird Nintendo decision, but man, I can't bring myself to hate it. I can't even bring myself to be mad at it. It's just kind of weird. This is... I saw... So there was a post that was going around last week that was, the GameCube failed. The Wii succeeded. The Wii U failed. The Switch succeeded. So whatever piece of hardware Nintendo releases next is doomed to fail. And now people are putting the Alarmo in there. And are like, Alarmo, doomed to fail. The successor to the Alarmo will succeed. Right? Like, Nintendo is using the Alarmo to break their curse. Which is a very funny idea. I think that's good timing on those people who thought to do that. That's funny. Because it is kind of true, right? When it comes to consoles, Nintendo goes from success to failure to success to failure. Oh yeah, the GameCube failed hard. The GameCube sold like 20 million units compared to the PS2's 152 million. Yeah, the GameCube failed hard. And then the Wii U only sold 13 million, which, I mean, that's bad even by Nintendo standards. The N64 also technically failed, but in memory, the Nintendo 64 is not remembered as a failure, even though it only sold like a quarter that the PS1 did, that the original PlayStation did. I think maybe the N64 only sold like 32 million, and the original PlayStation sold like 90 million or something crazy like that. Of course, not as big of a failure as the Dreamcast. Oh my god, or the Sega Saturn. Oh my god, don't even... Like, yeah, sure, the N64 isn't remembered as a failure, but that's only because the Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn were so bad in comparison. Like, yeah, the N64 failed. The Dreamcast destroyed Sega. They never made another console again. But no, so, with Alarmo being announced, the question now begs, are we going to get a Switch 2 announcement? Because again, all the writing was on the wall that we were going to get some sort of big Nintendo announcement. And we got Alarmo. Was everything for Alarmo? Were all the speculation, all the rumors for Alarmo? And now that Alarmo has been announced, we're just gonna go, right? Are we now back in purgatory for another... In theory, honestly, there is a decent possibility that we are now back in Nintendo purgatory until January. that, right, all the goodwill was used up by Alarmo, and now we're just gonna have to sit back and wait until 2025 January for the Switch 2 to be revealed. Which, God, I hope we do. I mean, again, there are leaks out there now and everything, and that will hopefully calm the storm. But I really don't want to put up with another 3 months of leaks and speculation and rumors. That sounds like a nightmare. I really wish Nintendo would just reveal the Switch 2 and just get it over with. Right? Once we know what the thing is, the speculation's gonna... I mean, there's still going to be speculation, obviously, but it's gonna greatly die down. It's gonna be a lot less annoying. Admittedly, the amount of fake stuff is probably gonna deeply increase. Because right now, it's a lot of speculation, and yeah, sure, there's been some fake things, but not that many. But I just wish they'd reveal it, but it's not gonna be for a while. Sadly. I do think Nintendo Alarmo has affected this. In theory, it shouldn't. And I know there was one guy who was like, oh yeah, you know, I heard Nintendo had filmed a Switch 2 trailer, and it should be premiering sometime within the next 6 weeks. And I know the guy who said that was like, he came out today and was like, no, what I had heard does not match up with the Nintendo Alarmo thing. Nintendo Alarmo was something different, and that the Switch 2 trailer is still coming. Whether or not that guy was even right to begin with, well, we don't know, and we may never know. But, like, there's a part of me that just kind of hopes we get it so that way we can move on. But we'll just have to wait and see. So I guess that takes us to our next weird Nintendo thing. So on October 9th, Nintendo announces Alarmo that morning. And it was just kind of like, oh, that, right, there were some people specifically on the Nintendo Switch 2 subreddit, like, the second Alarmo was announced, they started melting down. Like that, like, they already been, like, clowns. They went on complete meltdown. Because it was kind of like, oh, this is it, right? This is the end, right? We're clearly not getting a Nintendo Switch 2. We're not getting a Nintendo announcement ever again, right? That was kind of the thing. That was the joke. Later that afternoon, Nintendo announces, hey guys, check out this new thing we're revealing, the Nintendo Switch Playtest Program. Let me find the original tweet here. Give me a second. I bookmarked it. Oh, that's cute art. Got distracted. So we will perform a test called the Nintendo Switch Online Playtest Program related to a new feature for the Nintendo Switch Online service offered for the Nintendo Switch system. And it's this page where, hey, tomorrow we are holding an application sign up. You have to have a Nintendo Switch Online account. With the expansion pass, you have to be at least 18, and you have to be registered in one of the following places. Right, we're only selecting 10,000 people, and the applications go up tomorrow. And they say, like, hey, we'll be accepting applications for 5 days, and then the actual play test will start on the 23rd. Maybe it's the 23rd? Sometime later in the week. I don't have the exact number. Or at least I'm pulling it up right now. But yeah, basically they were like, hey, we're doing this thing now, and we'll have more information, right? We'll give you more information later on. So, of course, the first thing is, so they put up the application the next morning. It filled up instantly. Like, they say, like, oh, we're only taking 10 applicants. And they had the page open for, like, 5 days. And I was like, why is this open for 5 days? They knew this was going to fill up instantly. In Japan, I think they are doing it by lottery, but in every other region, it's just, hey, click on the page to sign up. And yeah, it filled up instantly. So, of course, the first thought is, oh, hey, did I sign up for it? Did I get in? I'll tell you right now, I did not get in. I was at work in a meeting when this thing opened up, And I was like, I've got other things to do. I'm not going to worry about this. If I don't get right, like, I didn't even try. Because, I was in a meeting. I have actual, like, work stuff to do for my, job that pays me money that affords me to do this stupid Nintendo shit. So I didn't even try. But, of course, a lot of other people did get in. Wario64 got in. Laura K. Dale got in. Whatever this is, we will know about this. Either Nintendo will officially... Because they haven't, at this moment, said what this is. This is just a playtest, right? They've just called it the Playtest Program. We have no idea what this actually is. And this application may have some sort of NDA attached to it. Someone will obviously leak it, right? I don't care it doesn't matter what NDA someone signed. Someone will leak this in some way, shape, or form. Even if we don't get, like, direct gameplay or whatever, or, like, video of it, someone will tell us what's going on. I have full faith in that, so I'm not worried about that front. We will definitely find out what this is. Of course, what is this actually going to be? There has been so much speculation. My first thought when they announced this was voice chat. Because, Nintendo Switch has voice chat, but only through the Nintendo Switch Online app. And it's really dumb, and literally nobody uses it. I cannot think of a single person who uses Nintendo Switch Online voice chat. So, it would make sense if Nintendo looks at that, sees that nobody's using it, and it's like, you know what, let's just put it on the console itself. We're going to put voice chat on the console, right? You'll be able to, and for this testing week, you'll be able to download it, voice chat with other people. That makes perfect sense. I think that is the most logical explanation for what this is going to be. Right? Especially if they're getting, kind of like, remember how, like, in the lead up to Mario Party Superstars, they added multiplayer to Super Mario Party to, like, test it, make sure it works, and that way Superstars just launched with multiplayer, and there was no real issues with that. I mean, outside of, typical Nintendo issues, I could see them doing something very similar. Like, hey, we're testing online voice chat on Switch, so that way when Switch 2 launches with voice chat natively, it won't be an issue. I think that is the most logical explanation. It would, it could be something else. It could be like, I don't know, Discord integration or something like that. But that feels very ahead of the curve for Nintendo. Nintendo is very much, when it comes to the internet, Nintendo is very much a boomer, and they make boomer-ass decisions. So I don't think, like, Discord integration would be cool, but I don't think it's going to be that. Especially because there are rumors that the Switch 2 will have a microphone built in. I think it would make sense for this to be voice chat. The one thing that kind of leads me to thinking that this might not be voice chat is that according to the website, while you're testing this thing out, you need to be connected to the internet, preferably the Ethernet, and your system has to be docked. Right? They preferably want people who are using docked and have a strong internet connection. So I think, so there is, because of that, and, like, there's no way for, like, Switch control, like, Pro controllers or Joy-Cons to do, like, voice chat other than, like, the headphone jack on the system or, like, a USB headphone. That's maybe good reason why it wouldn't be voice chat. So, of course, that leads to, what else can it be? If it's not voice chat, what else? I've seen some people speculate achievements. Nintendo, of the major 3 video game consoles, Nintendo's the only one that doesn't do achievements. Maybe this is them finally giving in and doing achievements. And I'd be fine with that. Personally, I don't need achievements in Nintendo games. I mean, if Nintendo puts achievements in their games, like, Splatoon technically has achievements. They're just all internal, right? There's no, like, oh, and that's how you get the little badges, right? They're all internal in the game. But, people want external achievements. I don't think this is achievements. Other things that we've got from the website is that the file size for, like, the program you're going to be downloading is 2.2 gigabytes. And I've seen, because of that, some people have speculated that it's going to be DS games or GameCube games, and maybe this is them testing out, like, what's it called? Not free play, local play, a link play on DS games, or online multiplayer for GameCube games. Like, maybe it's going to have, like, Mario Party in it, and they're going to test Mario Party, like, online services, and, like, hey, could you do 4-player Mario Party 4 online? Like, it could be something like that, and I think either of those are possible. I mean, if it's going to be GameCube or DS, I think, especially because, again, there's a lot of speculation that, hey, the Switch 2 is going to have DS functionality, right? Is going to have two-screen DS functionality of some sort. I could maybe see them testing out DS. GameCube would also be cool, right? If you remember, the Nintendo 3DS did the Ambassador program, where they tested out Game Boy Advanced games, and then for some reason never released any Game Boy Advanced games. Maybe they're doing something like that. I don't know. Well, it's possible. I don't know how likely it is. Laura Kate Dale, right, notable game journalist, Laura Kate Dale, who did get into this thing, they speculated that this is going to be a game streaming service. Kind of like GeForce, right? To read off the tweet, my best guess, something like NVIDIA GeForce Now support to let folks stream PC games to Switch over Wi-Fi. That's their guess. And I don't... Right, like, if this was basically Nintendo Switch Online testing out Game Pass, like some sort of like Game Pass, GeForce Now integration, I don't hate that idea. If there's like or if this is testing out you streaming Switch games to your phone, like kind of like, Xbox does or something like that. I think PlayStation also does it as well. I've heard Xbox's servers are better than PlayStation, but that's just hearsay. If it's something like that, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that would also make logical sense. If they're doing like some sort of like streaming service or something like that. I don't know. The fact that because Nintendo has done cloud gaming on the Switch, specifically Control, but people were pointing out that, hey, the file size of Control for the cloud version is only 100 megabytes. If this thing is 2.2 gigs, how much is going to be on this? And you know what? Fair point. That is a fair point. And that's... What was the other thing? There was one other big speculation that I liked. Oh, I mentioned it earlier, Nintendo Spotify. People really want Nintendo to make a streaming service that just has music from every Nintendo game ever made. And basically, just have it be... Bundle it with Nintendo Switch Online. There's a phone app. There's a Switch app. And maybe you could even have it running in the background while you play. But just kind of like how Spotify has integration on Xbox. And maybe PlayStation, I'm not entirely sure. I know there's Spotify integration on Xbox. Nintendo making their own Spotify that has the music from every game they ever released would be a really cool thing. And I would love to have a phone app that just had, hey, here's every song from every Nintendo game ever. And you can make playlists, you can select games, you can put it on shuffle. Every time a new game comes out, they just automatically add it in there. I think that would be really cool. It's one of those ideas that's it's such a good idea that Nintendo could just charge, they don't even have to make it part of Nintendo Switch Online. They could just charge, separately for it, and they'd easily make $1 billion. Nintendo Spotify with video game music is $1 billion idea. And they just won't do it because they're Nintendo. And when it comes to the internet, Nintendo's a bunch of boomers. So, I don't think it's going to be that. I think there's a 1% chance it's going to be that. But that is possible. It's possible. Anything's possible at this point. How they did not get me, I have no idea. Any other ideas? I don't know. The 2.2 gigs is what that's what makes me think it's not a cloud game. But the fact that they want you to have internet definitely makes me, like, I think GameCube makes sense. Like, them, but, like, why not just release why do you have to test this online? Because, right, if you want this docked, if you want them to have an internet connection, why? Like, why would it be GameCube or Ratatouille on Nintendo DS, right? Who's been playing the Ratatouille game recently? Was it the Fuckface podcast that's been playing the Ratatouille game? I guess Regulation podcast. Excuse me, princess. I don't even know if they're playing the DS game. I saw it somewheres on, maybe it was Reddit. Someone was talking about it recently. I don't remember where. You've been playing it. Yeah, I don't know what else this could be. I mean, let me actually, speaking of Reddit. Nintendo Switch Reddit. Where was it? I know it's in here somewhere. Just give me a second. Nintendo Switch Playtest Program. I have the game with me. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are speculating a streaming service of some sort, but the 2.2 gigabytes makes it even more curious. And I mean, it is around that time the other thing is, it's around that this time of year when Nintendo usually announces new stuff for Nintendo Switch Online. Be that Game Boy / Game... Because they announced Game Boy and Game Boy Advance around this time last year. I think it was that was in a September Direct, but still. Right? NES games, N64 games, right? All of those were announced around this time. So if this was GameCube, even if it's, hey, we're doing GameCube games, but the Switch isn't strong enough to run GameCube games, which I know is a fucking lie, by the way. I know people have emulated GameCube games on the Switch. Right? If Nintendo's testing out GameCube games, kind of like, you know how, like, I think PS5 does something similar with PS3 games, where you can play some PS3 games on PS5, but they're done through the cloud gaming service or something like that. If Nintendo's testing that out, then that's totally... Maybe that's what they're doing for GameCube games? I don't know, most GameCube game... Like... I mean, because, you know, they re-released Pikmin, they re-released Metroid Prime. I mean, what games are you going to be testing out? Luigi's Mansion? One of the Fire Emblems? Melee? I mean, if you're testing out Melee, that'd be neat. I'm sure people will complain that they have input lag, because Melee fans are insufferable cunts, but yeah. I don't know. I think cloud streaming is totally possible, right? Maybe them testing out cloud streaming games like Breath of the Wild and Super Smash Bros. And maybe even Splatoon 3 here. That could be something they're trying out. Just for the hell of it. I don't know. It's going to be curious to see what this is. I don't know when, again, if Nintendo's going to announce this, how all the secret things work. I don't know why they're being so secretive. I do not think... There have been some people speculating that maybe this special thing is how they're going to be revealing Switch 2. That somehow that basically the 10,000 people who signed up are going to be the first people to get an exclusive look at the Switch 2. I don't think they're going to go that far with it. Like, that'd be a very weird Nintendo decision. That'd be an interesting WND. I hate it. I have a visceral disdain for Melee fans that has been bred over decades of pain, mistrust, betrayal, and just general dislike. General disdain. Not dislike doesn't go hard enough. Disdain is more like it. Same thing with Project M fans. I hate Project M fans as well. But that's... them and Melee fans overlap a lot. So yeah, I have no idea what this is going to be. There's a lot of different things it could be. It'd be very funny if it was Xbox Game Pass. That'd be very... Because, you know, Xbox has said multiple times that they would love to get Game Pass streaming on Nintendo Switch. That'd be very funny if that's what this was. Yeah. The actual reveal, this is Nintendo Alarmo 2, now on your console. Oh, yeah, and so the last thing, Project M was a mod for Super Smash Bros. Brawl that made it play more like Melee. And the people who liked Project M, in my experience, are super entitled because they're mad the game didn't play like the game they liked. And, they were so insufferable. The last thing I've seen people speculate is that this is, Miiverse. That Nintendo is going to be relaunching Miiverse. That since recently Nintendo removed Twitter functionality from the Switch... Maybe they're going to... And, you know, Twitter has gone to hell in a handbasket because of Elon Musk. Which, but just going completely side tangent here. I've been reading the Twitter book, Character Limit, which is basically the definitive book explaining, right, Elon Musk buying Twitter and just everything that went wrong. I've been reading that book. To be fair, I know, like, most of the story already... Because, you know, Twitter is my ultimate vice. I know the story of Elon Musk buying Twitter. There are definitely some surprises in there. But as someone who knows the story, that book is so good. I think it is so well written. It tells the story perfectly. Right, like I said, I know the story well. And I think they've nailed it. If you can get yourself a copy of Character Limit, I highly recommend it. There's also an audiobook, of course, if you're at all interested in that. But yeah, it's about how Elon Musk bought Twitter, got red-pilled, and completely ruined it. And man, fuck Elon Musk. It's a really good book. But yeah, if Nintendo looks at Elon Musk's Twitter is like, fuck this, we're gonna make our own Twitter, and that's what this is... I'd be fine for that. I don't want them to call it Miiverse again. I'd want them to call it something else, obviously. But if that's what they're doing, yeah, no, I guess that's possible. What's it on? What's it cost? I think you can just buy it, you know, anywhere books are sold. I know the audiobook's on Audible, but I'm sure there are other more reputable sources that'll buy it, that have it. Check your local libraries. Yeah, it's called Character Limit. I don't have the specific subtitle. It's got a subtitle in there as well. It's Character Limit. How Elon Musk Destroyed Twitter by Ryan Mack and Kate Conger? Yeah, that's the name of the book. Nintendo Webify. Yeah. The Splatnet has gone to the Nintendo Net. Because, you know, I do wonder how Nintendo thinks about their online app. Like, internally, is the Nintendo Switch Online app considered a success or a failure? Because I always feel like they could be doing so much more with their online app. Like, the fact that you can't even, like, buy games within the Nintendo Switch Online app is a real shame. And I mean, they only recently added the ability for you to be able to buy games off of their website and pre-download them onto your console. So, like, yeah, when it comes to the internet, Nintendo is very much a boomer. They are very behind the curve. Oh, I just realized we're not loading into new maps, because the map rotation changed. We've been sitting here for like 5 minutes. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's going to be curious over the next 2 weeks to see what this is. I do hope the Nintendo Switch 2 gets revealed at some point. Actually, I think Nintendo... If you're at all interested, I think Nintendo just opened their intern applications earlier today. So if you're at all interested in being an intern at Nintendo, I think they're very competitive. It's a very competitive field, but I do actually think those either just opened up or are opening up sometime in the very near future. And I'm not joking, by the way. Like, seriously, Nintendo is looking for interns at Nintendo of America. Like, that's a real thing. I swear I saw that somewheres today. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about some Splatoon stuff real quick. So Splatoon 2... So, right, Splatoon... After the big grand festival, everyone kind of thought Splatoon was dead. Because for the most part, Splatoon, whenever they do that final Splatfest, they do usually die, right? Splatoon 1 died after its Cali vs. Marie Fest. Splatoon 2 died after its Chaos vs. Order Fest. I mean, there were a few small updates, but... You know, we didn't really expect much. And especially, like, the only reason, Splatoon 2 had more Splatfests after its final Splatfest was because of COVID. Because Nintendo saw COVID, was like, hey, everyone's stuck inside their home, let's do some more Splatfests and give them something to do. And that's that's not exactly what Nintendo's doing right now, but basically they've announced that, hey, you know, we still have all the stuff for the Halloween Splatfest in the game. Let's just do another Halloween Splatfest. So they're actually rerunning an old Splatfest. So in Splatoon 3 here, they're redoing the, So in Splatoon 2, let's start there. In Splatoon 2, there was a Splatfest that was based on the amiibo costumes. That was Knight versus Witch. And it was their Halloween Splatfest, and it was a cool Splatfest. I think it was their Halloween Splatfest. And if you wore the amiibo costumes, it actually showed, instead of like showing up wearing the Splatfest shirt, it actually showed up wearing the amiibo costume, like the full costume with the outfit and everything. It was a really neat feature they did for the Splatfest, and only that Splatfest. Like, they never did that again, and it was kind of a shame. But guess what? They're redoing that Splatfest. So they have announced we're getting a Halloween Splatfest that is going to be Knight versus Witch versus Ninja. Because when the amiibo set with the Knight and the Witch costume also had a ninja costume in it that, you know, doesn't get talked about that much because, again, it got overshadowed by the other two. But yeah, they're doing Knight versus Witch versus Ninja. As we've been playing tonight, I've seen a few people in the witch costume because of that. They're also re-releasing the Splatoon 2 Halloween headgears, which is why if you've seen a lot of people with the devil horns, the Jason mask, the anglerfish hat, that's why. They've also re-released the Splatoon 2 Halloween headgears. They might have re-released that already earlier. Admittedly, that might have already been a thing in the game, but you're able to get it again right now. So if you don't have the Splatoon 2 Halloween headgear, you can get it right now. I bet it's on the Nintendo Switch announcements. I admittedly did not check earlier. I mean, I guess we could. Go over to news. Yeah, here we go. Splatoween. And we come down here. Yeah, these 4 pieces of headgear that I know were in Splatoon 2 are back in this game. So yeah, let's open it back up and let's get these pieces of it. Again, assuming we don't already have them. Oh, I changed my Switch icon to Marks. Because, you know, we gotta bring down capitalism one way or another. Oh, fuck, we haven't talked about politics tonight. Oh no, what am I going to say about politics? Oh my gosh. What can I say about Donald Trump blaming Kamala Harris for the hurricane? Meanwhile, when the hurricane went through Puerto Rico, he did nothing about it and actively let thousands of people die. Oh no, what should I say about that? That make pet safe again. Yeah. Right, Donald Trump loves to eat cats and dogs. Kind of like, RFK Jr. You know that, oh gosh, what else? What are they fucking you know that, Marjorie Taylor Greene is claiming that the, Democrats can control the weather. But if if they could control the weather, they would have sent the hurricane a little more south, so that way it could hit Mar-a-Lago. That's what would have really happened if they could actually control the weather. Fucking Trump. God, if literally any other politician said even 1/100th of the stupid shit he says, their careers would be dead forever. They would be an eternal laughingstock. And yet, this race is a flip of a fucking coin at this point. Oh my god. And the election's like 23 days away. And okay, it might be 27 days away. No, I think it's 23. In 23 days, we will know if this is the final season of the American experiment. Or if, this country goes on for another 4 years. Alright, let's get away from politics. So yeah, I think Splatoon doing a new Halloween Splatfest, very good thing. I think it's a great thing. I'm glad they're doing another Halloween Splatfest. And they also said they're going to be doing another Christmas one. I admittedly don't remember what the last Christmas Splatfest was. Because I think it would be cool to redo some of the Splatoon 2 Splatfests, but now with a third option. I want to say the Splatoon 2 Splatfest for Christmas was socks versus sweaters. So I'd be really curious to see what the third option would be. Socks, sweaters, and... Oh, what would be a fun... Maybe, like, woolly hats? Maybe, yeah, like beanies? Maybe that'd be a fun third option. I don't know. I like the... I like the idea of them redoing some classic Splatoon 2 Splatfests. Which came first, the chicken, the egg, or the dinosaurs? That'd be a fun one. So yeah, it's Nintendo admittedly had said that they're going to keep doing Splatfest, at least for a little bit. They're going to keep doing some more, we're going to get some more extra work, we're going to get some more big runs. So yeah, like, we're not getting any new stages or anything like that, but just, it doesn't, I doubt it takes up too much development time to do, to just add a Splatfest theme. That's like a single image, maybe some shirt designs, especially if they're reusing shirts from the second game and only adding one new one instead of 3. I doubt it takes, I bet a small team, maybe even a single person could probably do that. Especially if they're not having to create anything new. Candy cane cookies and milk. Yeah, cookies versus milk versus... Yeah, or just, yeah, candy canes versus cookies versus milk. Yeah, I think that one makes sense. But yeah, I'd love to see some, Splatoon 2 Splatfest return. I would love to see some Splatoon 1 Splatfest returns. Admittedly, I cannot remember a single Splatfest from Splatoon 1. I want to say Splatoon 1... Was Splatoon 1 the SpongeBob vs. Patrick one? Do SpongeBob versus Patrick versus Squidward? That'd be very fun. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd love that one. Team Squidward would get most votes. Right? Everyone's so jaded nowadays. Team Squidward would get the most votes. I think that was... Because, yeah, Splatoon 1 was, I think, Patrick versus SpongeBob, and Splatoon 2 was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then I don't think we got a Nickelodeon-themed Splatfest for Splatoon 3. Yeah, I don't think we did. The closest we got was that Legend of Zelda one. Which I did really like. That Legend of Zelda one was so cool. I'm so glad they did that. Did we get a Pokemon? We did get a Pokemon one. Yes, I'm so glad we got a Pokemon one as well. That Pokemon one was so good. Just a fun... It's so much fun, man. I love Pokemon. So, speaking of SpongeBob... So, as I teased earlier at the top of the show... This week... The big three burger chains... McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King... all put out new foodstuffs. Right? They all put out new limited edition food... And I have tried all three of them. So I guess in purpose of transition, let's start off with Wendy's. Because they were also the first one I tried this week. So on the 8th, Wendy's released their SpongeBob Krabby Patty collab. What is the Krabby Patty collab? It's two things. The first thing is they have their Krabby Patty burger. Which, the burger is just a Dave's single with some special sauce, right? It's not, like, they didn't make a special burger, they didn't make a sesame seed bun, they didn't make it a round burger. And I'll be honest, I can forgive Wendy's for not making the burger round. Wendy's whole gimmick is that their burgers are square. If they're doing a Krabby Patty, them making the burger square, no skin off my back. But they should have at least gotten a sesame seed bun. And the burger should have at least been assembled in the correct order. Like, I know that in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. But it's little details like that show people that you care. Or even if you had gotten, like, a special wrapper for the burger. Or, like, a SpongeBob-themed bag. Just something to set it apart. That would have been fine. But no, it's literally just a Dave single with some special sauce. I've seen some people say the sauce is just Thousand Island dressing. It's not. Because I hate people who say Big Mac sauce is Thousand Island dressing are just blatantly wrong. Big Mac sauce is completely different from Thousand Island. Specifically because Big Mac sauce doesn't have ketchup. It drove, for years, I've seen people make Big Mac sauce with ketchup. And I've always been like, no, it doesn't have ketchup in it. So for Chef Mike to come out and be like, yeah, Big Mac sauce doesn't have ketchup in it, I was so fucking vindicated, man. Like, yes, I was right. All the naysayers who never believed me. Where's the pickles? Yeah, there's been a lot of memes on TikTok about that, like, rev up those fryers. I'm here for, you forgot my shake. Where's the pickles? And, you know, it's just been, like, people saying that, and then just pretending to be Wendy's employees and quitting. Because, like, I think of, like, the Rick and Morty collaboration they did at McDonald's, or... What was the other meal? The one McDonald's did that had people, like, yelling into the microphone. It was... Was it 21 Savage? Was it... I don't remember who it was, but, you know, this is nothing new. But yeah, so the burger has a special sauce. I'll be honest, it's not too prominent. The sauce is very understated. I do kind of wish there was... I don't know if I want there to be more of it. I wish there was a stronger flavor to it. It's not bad. And I mean, luckily, there's no, like, upcharge. Like, at least where I live, the price of a Dave single and the price of a single Krabby Patty cost exactly the same. I don't know if that's how it is everywheres, but at least where I live, they're the exact same. So at least there's not, like, a $1 upcharge for them just adding some sauce to it. So yeah, the burger, I mean, it's a Dave single. Admittedly, when I go to Wendy's, I'm a Baconator guy. I think the Baconator is the best thing Wendy's has. Yeah. So yeah, I think the Baconator, right, but Dave singles are okay. They're fine burgers. And then the other thing they have is the pineapple under the sea Frosty. Because, you know, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. But, so that's the thing. So it's a vanilla Frosty, but it's got, like, a pineapple mango swirl in it. So I guess this is something that Wendy's does in, like, Europe and Australia. Maybe Australia, definitely in Europe. All the time, is they'll do, like, a Frosty, but they'll add a sauce to it. I just go for a chicken with barbecue and ketchup with mayo. Yeah, you know, that doesn't... I know Wendy's has pretty good chicken as well. Yeah. Their ghost pepper burger, I think, is... Or their ghost pepper chicken sandwich isn't half bad. It's one of the few, like, spicy chicken sandwiches that I actually like. Oh god, Popeyes has a ghost pepper. The one food stuff I did not try this week, Popeyes has a ghost pepper chicken sandwich that I'm curious about, but I have to drive to the other side of town to go to Popeyes, and it's just not worth it. It just ain't worth it. At least this week. But yeah, so yeah, they, so it's a vanilla Frosty with pineapple and mango swirled. And it's something they do in, like, Europe. Like, in Europe, they have, like, a chocolate Frosty with, chocolate sauce drizzled in it, topped with marshmallows. And they call it a hot chocolate Frosty. Oh, Popeyes is my favorite chicken sandwich. It is so good. They're the best. Chick-fil-A may be the first. Popeyes is the best. Oh, I love them. But yeah. So yeah, just to go to BK, yeah. You gotta drive all the way over to the Netherlands, because they don't have BKs in Belgium. Or, did I reverse that? It's something like that. That's a classic Tumblr post. That's why I named those two countries specifically. But yeah, where was I going? So yeah, this whole swirl Frosty thing, it's something they've been doing in Europe for a long time. They've never tried it out in America until now. And honestly, I liked it. I feel like the swirl, like, a lot of the stuff does sink to the bottom. And, I know some people, right, for some people, like, it's like, oh, well, I only get the pineapple and the mango at the bottom of the Frosty. But for me, mine felt pretty well mixed up. I felt like I was getting a little bit of that pineapple flavor in every bite. So yeah, the pineapple mango Frosty is okay. Pineapple, I'm surprised it's pineapple and mango and not just pure pineapple. Maybe they felt like pineapple on its own wasn't strong enough. It is, I'll tell you that. But no, I didn't hate the Frosty. Honestly, I'd probably recommend the Frosty over the burger. Because I'm not, when it comes to Wendy's, vanilla Frosties are so boring. Like, you know, I know some people are like, no, vanilla's not a boring flavor. You know, vanilla is interesting. Vanilla's complex. I mean, yes, but it's also kind of just boring. Like, and you know, to be fair, depending on the food, I feel the same way about chocolate as well. Like, chocolate has become so prolific that chocolate's also just kind of boring sometimes. Same thing with bacon, right? Bacon being on like, I like myself a Baconator, but bacon does not need to be on everything. There is definitely such a thing as too much bacon. God, that bacon mac and cheeseburger I had over the summer, oh my god, talk about just too many flavors. Bacon jam mac and cheeseburger, I meant. It had strips of bacon, but it also had an applewood bacon jam, and it was just too much. It was way too many flavors going on, and it was like, if you removed one of these things, this would be a lot better. I would probably remove the mac and cheese, if I'm being honest. I liked the bacon jam. But that's me going off on tangents. But yeah, so the Krabby Patty collab meal, it also comes with fries. And I've seen people, like, judging the fries. They didn't do anything to the fries. They didn't add, like, sea salt or anything like that. It's just fries. They didn't need to do anything special for that. I've seen some people, like, give it, like, dock points because they didn't do anything special to the fries. I didn't need that. I've seen some people complain that they didn't make kelp shakes, or like a kelp drink or something like that. And, you know, they could have just rebranded, like, Sprite or Starry to be like kelp shake and called it a day. Like, they could have just made a generic lemon lime soda, and I would have been fine with that, right? Like, if they just rebranded. I think Wendy's the Starry. Maybe they do Sprite. I don't remember. But yeah, it was fine. Honestly, would I recommend people go out of their way for the Krabby Patty collab? Probably not. I mean, I think the whole, right, a burger, a single patty burger, fries, and a Frosty was like $10. That's not great, but that's also not terrible. Like, $10 alone would get you $10 would get you like 3/5 of a burger at like Five Guys. So yeah, I mean, to each their own. I definitely feel like if you go to like, oh, I don't know, like a Whataburger, you're getting more food. Definitely at like an In-N-Out, but again, those are only in certain places. We talked about Whataburger last week. We must have. That's why I'm thinking Whataburger, because we must have talked about that last week. So the second place I tried, so Wendy's I tried on the 8th. On the 9th, I went to McDonald's. Because even though their Chicken Big Mac was launching on the 10th, mine had it a day early. So on the 9th, I went to McDonald's to try their new Chicken Big Mac. So, first off, this Chicken Big Mac, it's not just a chicken... It's not just a Big Mac with, like, chicken patties, like the same they use as, like, the McChicken. No, instead it's, like, a tempura batter. It's basically, imagine if they did a Big Mac, but with giant chicken nuggets. It's basically the same batter they use on the chicken nuggets. That's, instead of just doing, like, the McChicken patties. A Whataburger is a Texas. It's a burger chain here in Texas. And they're, in my opinion, the best burger chain in the world. I legitimately... It's them and In-N-Out Burger and, like, some of those, like, and, like, a local place that I'm not going to talk about because, you know, don't want to dox myself too much. Yeah, no, they're a place down here in Texas, and they're so good. If you're ever in Texas, they're constantly like, yeah, you gotta go. They're so good. At least they used to be. They've admittedly gotten a little worse since COVID, but... Ooh, they were at points. They've been the best thing in the world, and they're pretty cheap. Like you can get a massive burger, a giant soda, right? Like like Texas is. Everything is big in Texas, and right, so you can get a massive burger, a lot of fries, a giant drink for like $10. It's pretty cheap, and you can pay an extra dollar to get a shake. And they do, like, Dr. Pepper shakes, and... Oh, they're so good. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they've got a Dr. Pepper museum. Yeah, a Dr. Pepper shake, pretty good. Yeah, so Chicken Big Mac. I've done so there's this thing called the McGangbang where you buy a McDouble and a McChicken and you basically stack them on top of each other. I've tried that before and it's okay. And like I know at some point in the past McDonald's did test out like, hey, they had like a DIY menu that I want to say had a Chicken Big Mac on it or something like that. Like they've definitely messed around with this idea before. But this is the first ever, like, official Chicken Big Mac. And it's okay. Like, I'll be honest, the chicken flavor is not that strong. It's very messy. At least the one I got, they put a lot of lettuce, they put a lot of pickles, they put a lot of sauce on it, and it was just falling apart. You heard what I said. It's whatever you think I said is exactly what I said. Seriously, that's what it's called. Google it. But yeah, it's the tempura battered admittedly, I'm not a big fan of McDonald's chicken sandwiches. Not that I, like, hate them, I just don't go out of my way to get them. Like, I don't get, like, the new McCrispy or whatever. The last time I had a McCrispy, I think we talked about it on the podcast, on the show. It was just, like, it had, like, 10 tomatoes on it, 10 slices of tomato, and I was like, that's way too much tomato. I don't know how anyone stands this sandwich. And, like, I guess I'm glad they didn't use that, but they could have just used their normal chicken sandwich patty. And I feel like it would have been fine. Most menacing thing I've ever heard. Yeah. But no, I think the Chicken Big Mac was okay. If you like chicken sandwiches and you like Big Macs, again, specifically like McDonald's chicken sandwiches, I think this will be okay. I wish kind of like how the chicken nuggets don't really have, right, they're tempura battered. They don't really have much seasoning on them. Most of the seasoning they get from, like, the sauces, you know, the sweet and sours, the barbecues and whatnot. This kind of has that same problem. Like, the flavor of the Big Mac sauce kind of overpowers the chicken. And I like the Big Mac sauce, so I'm not too beaten up over it. But it's not anything amazing. Would I recommend it? I mean, it kind of like the McRib. You know, like, whenever McRib season comes around, it's always like, hey, you know, most people will at least buy one, and then that's it. That's why the McRib isn't a permanent item. Because most people will only buy one. So that, right, McDonald's can reliably put it on the menu every year. Because people will buy just one and move on. I could see this going into that same rotation. Like, because that's the plan at the moment. Like, it's only going to be here for, like, a month. And then they're going to move on to the McRib or whatever. So I could see them doing that. Being like, hey, every year, maybe every other year, it's the Chicken Big Mac. It's on the menu for a month. And then they just move on to something else. It's not a terrible idea. Not at all. So yeah, that was whatever. And then the final thing I tried, the place that had the most stuff, was Burger King. So I went, the McRib's coming out probably next month. At least here in America. It's a seasonal thing. So I went to Burger King because they're doing an Addams Family collaboration. Is there a new Addams Family movie coming out? No. They just randomly decided for Halloween they're going to do an Addams Family collaboration. And so the items are, there's a Wednesday Purple Whopper. There are Gomez Churro Fries. And there is a Morticia Chocolate Shake. They also have, like, Thang onion rings, but I'm pretty sure those are just normal onion rings. Like, there's nothing special with those. So, let's just go about those in order. So, the Purple Whopper. It is a Whopper with a purple bun. You know, Burger King is no stranger to doing colorful foods. You got Beetlejuice. That's neat. Did they give you a green burger? That'd actually be cool. So Burger King does do colorful food. That's kind of one of their gimmicks, right? They've basically gone through all the colors of the Pretty Patties from SpongeBob. I remember for Halloween one year, they did a black burger. Their Angry Whopper was red. I think they did a Spider-Verse Whopper that was red as well. They did an orange spicy Whopper for Halloween one year. And of course, this year they're doing a purple Whopper. And I'll be honest, whenever you hear a fast food place is coloring something, a strange color, you should always be a little hesitant because they use, like, red, Beetlejuice Fanta. I have actually heard about that. You know what? You are right. I have heard about that. But, right, whenever someplace colors something, you should always be a little hesitant because, you know, they might be using, like, red 40 or yellow 9. You know, these chemical dyes that are literally banned in Europe. You can't have it because you're allergic to cinnamon. Oh my, I couldn't imagine being allergic to cinnamon. That must suck. Sorry to hear that. Oh my gosh. So yeah, whenever some place does something colorful, you should be, especially in America, you should be wary. Because again, red 40 is like linked to cancer, yellow number 9, right? All these like terrible chemicals. But the one exception to that is Burger King. Fun fact, Burger King has sworn off using artificial dyes in all of their restaurants. When they want to dye something red, they don't use red 40. They use beetroot extract, right? They use natural colorings in dyes to dye their products. They have sworn off those artificial dyes and chemicals. And it's actually really commendable. Like, I give Burger King a lot of credit for doing that. And, like, I feel like people don't talk about it, right? Like, Burger King didn't make, like, a big deal out of it. They just kind of quietly did it. And yeah, no, I will... that's why I'm more... Right, like, Burger King does all these weird, like, pretty patties and whatnot. And, like, if, like, McDonald's did that, I would be like, wait, what are you guys doing? I don't know if I trust this. But I trust Burger King. I may not actually like Burger King that much. I don't actually think they're that great. But I can trust Burger King with these things. Because I know they actually do put care into them. And yeah, they don't use any artificial dyes and whatnot. It's always just one of those things I kind of have to bring up. Because I feel like people don't know about it. And they deserve credit for doing that in theory. So yeah, the Purple Whopper, the only difference between this Purple Whopper and the normal Whopper, outside of it having a purple bun, is that it has Swiss cheese instead of, like, cheddar. I think Whoppers normally don't have cheese on them at all, but this one specifically comes with cheddar, or Swiss, and honestly, not bad. Swiss cheese on a Whopper actually tastes pretty decent. Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that, but yeah, no, I actually kind of liked it. Swiss cheese on a Whopper? Not bad. I feel like every time I come over to this guy, he's fucking... ugh. Yeah, so yeah, Swiss cheese... The Wednesday Whopper? Not bad. One of the... It was one of the better Whoppers I've had. Because I've had some bad Whoppers. I tried the onion rings. I know they're just typical Burger King onion rings. Not bad. Honestly, they're not like Sonic onion rings that are like dipped in ice cream, which is crazy when you think about that. Or soft serve. But they're not bad onion rings. The churro fries... The churro fries were okay. You know, when you think, hey, it's a mass market restaurant selling churro fries, they're exactly what you'd expect them to be. I think they come in like 4-packs, 6-packs, and 12-packs. And they come with like a little side of like chocolate dipping sauce. The chocolate dipping sauce tastes very like artificial. Like there's clearly a lot of preservatives in there just to like keep it chocolatey. It was whatever. But yeah, they were okay. They're not any... The churro fries didn't blow me away. But I didn't think they were terrible either. I've definitely had worse churros. I've definitely made worse churros. Oh my god, have I fucked up some churro recipes in my lifetime. And in the shake, it was a chocolate shake. I'll be honest, it was okay. I felt like the longer I had it, the worse it got. I definitely felt by the end of it, by the time I was getting to the very bottom of it, and you know, you start getting into all those like chocolate syrups and whatnot, I was kind of like, I don't really like this. I don't think it was like curdled or anything like that, but it definitely, by the time I got to the bottom of it, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm over this. I don't want any more of this. Was it like birthday cake flavored? It's supposed to be like chocolate cake flavored. Was it cake flavored? It's hard to tell. I feel like chocolate cake and chocolate taste very similar just by nature. Never had a churro. They're pretty good. I recommend them. They're pretty. You gotta make them right though, because if you screw them up, they don't cook all the way. Like you need to get the shaping right. Because if you don't, they don't cook evenly, and they just kind of taste like gross and gooey in the middle. But they're not bad. They're actually pretty easy to make. I know Disney has their churro recipe online, and Disney churros are pretty well beloved. How did I not kill that guy? But yeah, honestly, I feel like all three of the places we've talked about, they each had their ups and downs. Out of the three, which ones would I actually recommend? Right, if you had a choice between one of each three, which one would I actually recommend? Is it weird that I might say Burger King? I mean, the purple... Like I said, this is one of the better Whoppers I've had. So that might be coloring my experience, because I know Burger King's one of those hit-and-miss places. But the Whopper was pretty decent. The churro fries weren't bad. The onion rings were good. Other than that, I'd probably say Wendy's second, but that's just because I like Wendy's. And then maybe McDonald's third. I don't know, the Frosty. Yeah. Here's what I would recommend. I take the fries. I take the Frosty from Wendy's, the burger from Burger King, and then just the fries from McDonald's because I really like McDonald's fries. Man, fresh out of the fryer McDonald's fries are so fucking good. Oh my god. It's kind of yum. Yeah. So yeah, somewhere between these three, there's a really good meal. But separately, they were all, you know, having them across the 3 days, right? The 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. They were okay. Right, like, there are definitely worse places I could have gone. Like, I could have gone to Taco Bell and tried their double-decker taco again. Anytime we headed there, we def head to BK. Yeah. I feel like Burger King here in the States is a lot more inconsistent. Like, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're terrible. But, you know, you can always go to Whataburger and get I would say you can always go to Whataburger and get the same level of consistency. But that has not been true recently. Recently, Whataburger has fucked me over. Ooh, the Northern Lights are out tonight. Can we see them from down here? No, of course not. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, I think that's all the foodstuffs I've got. I don't know. Next week we'll talk about other stuff. I don't know. A lot of people are putting out their Halloween stuff right now. So that was kind of like, that's what this week felt like. It was like, even though SpongeBob and, you know, Chicken Big Mac have nothing to do with Halloween, Burger King definitely was. So I guess let's talk about Zelda real quick. So I have finished Echoes of Wisdom. I beat the game. Without getting into any spoilers or anything, I will say it is a good game. I did enjoy it. I do recommend it. Does it make my top 10 Zelda games? Maybe, but definitely on the lower end. Like, I like it more than Four Swords Adventures, Triforce Heroes. I like it more than all the multiplayer games. I like it more than Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. Because, God, do I hate Phantom Hourglass. I need to give Phantom Hourglass another try. Spirit Tracks is okay. I like it more than Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Do I like it more than Minish Cap? Maybe? Maybe I like it more than Minish Cap. Do I like it more than Twilight Princess? I don't know if I'd go that far. I'd maybe put it on scale with Twilight Princess. Maybe it's right around there. I might like it a little more than Twilight. I might like it more than Twilight Princess, but that might just be recency bias. I definitely don't like it more than Wind Waker. I definitely don't like it more than Ocarina or Majora. I don't like it more than... I like it more than the first two Zeldas. Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. I like it more than those two. I bet just, right, those games put it in the top 10, right? It's somewhere in the top 10. maybe it'd probably be at like number 9 or 10. Yeah, I like Wind Waker more. I like Ocarina and Twilight more, or Ocarina, Majora more. I like Skyward Sword more, but then again, I personally just really like Skyward Sword. That's the thing about it. I really like Skyward Sword. But that's just a personal thing. I definitely... So this is the third Zelda game to take place on the Link to the Past map. And I might like it more, because I do not like the original Link to the Past. I have no nostalgia for Link to the Past, and every time I play Link to the Past, it just frustrates me. So I might like this more than Link to the Past, but I definitely like Link Between Worlds more than this. Because that's the game this reminds me the most of. If I had to compare this to any Zelda game, I would say it reminds me of Link Between Worlds. And I say Link Between Worlds is better. I really like what Link Between Worlds does with its pseudo-open world-ish gameplay and its item introduction and whatnot. And I just think it does... Right, this game does something very similar to that with the Echoes, but I feel like Link to the Past just kind of does it better. I like Breath of the Wild in Tears of the Kingdom more than I do Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah, it'd probably end up at, like, somewhere between 10 and 8 on the lower end of my list. Again, down there with, like, Twilight Princess and maybe Minish Cap. Because it's been a while since I've done my top 10 Zelda games, but I want to say Minish Cap was my 10. No, I think the original Zelda is my 10. Right, the original NES Zelda is my 10. Minish Cap is my 9. And Twilight Princess is my 8. So it'd probably bump out Zelda 1. And maybe it'd be above Minish Cap, but below Twilight Princess. That sounds like a decent placement in my top 10 Zelda games. I like Link's Awakening more, but I'm a huge fan of Link's Awakening. I think Link's Awakening is, like, super underrated and maybe the best Zelda game. That's just me. Again, I'm kind of like Skyward Sword. I'm kind of biased towards Link's Awakening. The game makes me cry every time. Like if you cry every time. Who even said that originally? Like if you cry every time. I know I'm quoting someone, but I have no idea who I'm quoting. Am I quoting Sky Does Minecraft? I hope I'm not. Like if you cry every time. I might be quoting Sky Does Minecraft. Yeah. Ooh, that's not good. I'm gonna Google it. Like if you cry every time. Okay, I have no idea what that is. Okay, there's like a bunch of YouTube videos. It was a Facebook post that made it into a bunch of dumb YouTube videos. The Pop-Tart tragedy. No idea. No idea. Yeah. So last week when we talked about Echoes of Wisdom, my big problem was the dungeon design. Having played through the first 4 dungeons, I did not really like the dungeon design of the first 3 dungeons. Especially the Water Temple. I was super disappointed by the Water Temple. Having now beaten the game, I definitely feel like the dungeon design gets better in the second half. Some of the later dungeons, they get better, right? They're never as complex as I want them to be. Like, I think of, again, games like Link Between Worlds, like some of Skyward Sword's dungeons, maybe they're more comparable to Link to the Past. I don't know. I always felt like I wanted more from the dungeons, and they always just felt like corridors where you're going from one room to another, puzzle to puzzle. I felt like there was very little variety, right? Like, at no point was I ever given one key and 2 locked doors, and I had to choose which direction to go. At no point does that ever happen. I feel like the most complex dungeon was the ice dungeon, because there are some puzzles in there that require you to go room from room. The swamp dungeon gives you a lot of choices, right, where it'll, like, at no point, right, it doesn't give me 2 keys and makes me pick a door, but it will walk me into a room and give me, like, 3 doors to go through. And it does that thing where you have to leave the dungeon and come back in from a different place. I like stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely feel like the dungeon design got better as the game went on. I don't want to say any more than that, because spoilers. I guess real quick, very light. This isn't light spoilers. This is the buffer clip. I'm gonna talk about some Echoes of Wisdom stuff. Yeah. Have a good night. I'm gonna talk spoilers. So be warned right here, right now. This is your spoiler buffer warning. I will be talking about Endgame spoilers here. So, at the end of the game, right, you defeat all the dungeons. You get all 3 pieces. You get basically like the 3 pearls from the 3 goddesses. And then you go to save Link. And so, for some reason, your goal is to get the Triforce, right? The Triforce is in this game. But they never call it the Triforce. Something that kind of drove me crazy was, so your fairy is called Tri. But whenever you're talking about the Triforce, they call it, like, the ultimate power, or the power cosmic, or the power unlimited. They don't call it the Triforce. And I don't know why. And, like, I would think, like, oh, well, maybe this is where the Triforce gets its name from. That was one of my thoughts. Like, oh, maybe this is going to be like, hey, the Triforce gets its name after the fairy Tri. That never happens. They never call it the Triforce, even though it is most definitely the Triforce. So the villain Noel creates an Echo of Zelda, and uses the Echo of Zelda to try to steal the Triforce. It fails, and instead it only gets one of the pieces. One of them goes to you, Zelda, and the other one goes to Link. So you have to go into the final dungeon, and in the final dungeon, you go, it's basically, there's this giant, like, still world section, where there's a bunch of, like, puzzles, a bunch of very small, like, exploration puzzles from earlier in the game, like, oh, you have to use the float stones here, oh, you have to use swimming stuff, you have to use the rocks that float on lava, it's never very complex. I literally beat the entire section with just a bed and a bird, because I wanted to see if I could. So you do that, you go, you fight evil, like in Twilight Princess, you fight evil Zelda right before you fight Ganon. You do the same thing here, you fight evil Echo Zelda before you go off and fight Noel. You do that, you rescue Link, you then give Link your sword that you spent the game upgrading, and you actually do the final dungeon with Link. The final dungeon, it's like inside of Noel. The final dungeon, like, theming-wise and, like, look-wise, reminds me a lot of the final boss fight from Kirby Star Allies. You know how you fight, like, Void Termina, and you, like, go inside of it and fight, like, Void Soul? You basically do the same thing here. You go inside Noel, and you fight Noel's soul, who is, basically just an evil Tri. So you do all that. And, but yeah, the final dungeon, it's like, it's kind of fleshy, but like evil fleshy. It reminds me a lot of a Kirby game. Honestly, I kind of wish they leaned into it more, but whatever. But no, the final dungeon, right, it's you and Link teaming up to work your way through it. Link is controlled by an AI, right? At no point do you actually ever control Link. He's entirely AI controlled. At one point in the dungeon, you have to split up. Link goes one way, you go another way, and then you have to, like, help Link solve puzzles. And there's one really cool point where Link, like, needs to get up to a wall, and you're on the other side, and you have to, like, create boxes for him to jump up. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. And then that's the last puzzle in the dungeon. Like, I understand maybe Nintendo was worried about Link's AI being really stupid. Right? Like, Pikmin 1 AI. Because sometimes it kind of feels like it is. Sometimes. So, like, I understand why Nintendo didn't want to do too many puzzles where you had to rely on Link's AI to do something. But yeah, all the puzzles in the final dungeon are super simple. The final dungeon is very short. And then you go fight Noel. And when it's revealed that Noel is just a giant evil Tri, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And basically, Noel has kidnapped all the little Tri-Fairies and is basically forcing them to create the evil echoes. And you and Link work together to fight him. And, like, I kind of wish they had done, like... So, in a game like Wind Waker, right, you're as Link fighting Ganon. And Zelda is shooting Ganon with your bow. And you basically work together, and then, like, halfway through the fight, Ganon, like, starts dodging Zelda's arrows, so you have to reflect them off of your Mirror Shield. Right? It's a really cool final boss fight. I wish the game did something like that, where you and Link had to, like, team up to do, like, some sort of thing that would allow you to defeat Noel. Nope. You summon enemies to fight Noel, Link shoots Noel with his bow and attacks him with his sword, and that's basically it. Like, you go through multiple phases. At one point, Noel tries to, like, escape through the bloodstream, and you have to, like, chase after him. Again, it kind of reminds me of, like, a Kirby game, like, where I could see, like, a Kirby game doing something like that. And then in the end, you defeat Noel, you rip the Triforce out of him, and you make the wish to, you know, have forever killed Noel, destroy the still world. I think it would be interesting if your wish was to, like, bring life to the still world, and that sets up that the still world becomes the dark world in future Zelda games. If the still world became, like, low rule. Like, I feel like there's definitely the possibility that something like that may happen, because you fix all the rifts, right? At the end of the game, kind of like Navi or any of the other companions, like Midna, right? Tri ends up leaving at the end of the game because, you know, their job is now done. All the rifts have been fixed. And then the game just kind of ends on a happy note, right? You and Link, right? You're reunited with the king. Link's reunited with Blueberry, his pseudo-adopted father, kind of. Link talks, but of course you don't hear it. Right, like, it's no, like they hear Link talk for the first time, they're, like, all surprised by it. But, you know, you don't actually hear what he says. And yeah, it ends on a good note. Yeah, I think it was a fine ending. I don't know, I wish they did a little more. I don't have a problem with you giving up your sword to Link. I just kind of wish they did more with it. And there's still a bunch of stuff I didn't do. Like, I literally only got a horse at the very end of the game. Rescuing the horse was literally the last thing I did before the game ended. Right, because I immediately went from getting the horse to the Great Deku Tree. I liked the Great Deku Tree's puzzle. Like, it wasn't actually that hard, but once you realize, like, oh no, you have to do this all with your echoes, and if you reset, it resets the entire puzzle. I was like, oh, that's a neat gimmick, right? That makes this puzzle a little bit more complicated. It's not nearly, right, like, it's no, like, Master Sword puzzle from Twilight Princess. Like, not even close. It's a lot easier than that, actually. But I liked it. There are some really good puzzles in this game. I do really like some of those puzzles. Not all of them are great, but, you know, some of them are really good. There are some really fun... There's some fun ideas. I think the still world is neat. There are, of course, all the dungeons are in the still world, but there are some non-still world things as well. Like, sometimes you just go to the still world to, like, rescue some fairies. There are upgrades you get along the way. The best upgrade, in my opinion, is the upgrade that allows you to do a bigger jump. At a certain point, I don't remember where I got it. I want to say I got it in the water area. At some point, I unlocked the ability to do... Zelda, by default, does like a half-block jump, right? Like, she'll jump up a table, but not a box. And you can get an upgrade chip that allows you to jump up a full box. It is, in my opinion, a must-have upgrade. Like, it makes traversal so much easier. Because, right, from there, once you can jump boxes, you can literally just summon a single box and jump up a tree. Costume-wise, I admittedly didn't get that many costumes. I had, you have the starting outfit with the hood. I got the outfit that you get, like, halfway through the game. That's like the priestess outfit or whatever it's called. I had Zelda's outfit. I got a cat outfit. I know there's a Link out. I also had two amiibo outfits. There was like a black cat amiibo outfit, a purple dress, and like a red tunic. I know there's a green tunic in the game somewheres, but I just completely missed it. I also completely missed Dampe. Like, I know Dampe's in the game, but I never actually found his shop. I somehow just completely missed that. Like I said, I didn't get to the horse until the very end, and I only had to teleport once in the entire game. I only teleported a single time. And other than that, that was just because of how I did things. Technically, if I had done things differently, I would have never had to teleport. But yeah, it's a good game. It is a good Zelda game. I do have some questions. Like, okay, Noel creates an echo of Ganondorf. What is that? What about the original Ganondorf? Did the original Ganondorf, was that the one Link defeated at the beginning of the game? Or, because I thought it was kind of implied that was also an echo. That's kind of what it seemed like, right? That the Ganondorf at the beginning of the game was an echo. But maybe not, because at no point do they ever bring up, like, what happened to the actual Ganondorf. But no, I do enjoy it. I think it's a good... if I had to give it a scale out of 10, I'd probably say an 8 out of 10. Like, there is a lot I do enjoy here, but, there are Zelda games I enjoy more than this. Right? Again, I think Link Between Worlds, while it is a very different game, a much more traditional Zelda game, I do kind of like it more... Do I have to replay Link Between Worlds? I might. I feel like the echo mechanic worked very well. Like, I love it, right? I think it takes the ideas that are introduced in Tears of the Kingdom, and I think it does a good job of implementing them in, like, that traditional 2D Zelda space. I would have loved to have seen better designed dungeons, but that's just me. I don't know if everyone's going to feel that way, right? Some people who, are fine with simpler dungeons, I feel like they're going to have no problem with this. There is definitely a lot more to do in this game than, say, Link to... I mean, as far as I know, there's no, like, collect 100 of an item side quest in this game, whereas Link Between Worlds, you have to collect 100 Mai-Mais if you want the true ending. Not that there aren't things to collect, there definitely are. There were definitely some things I for sure missed. I mean, the stamps... I got most of the stamps. I think I missed, like, 3... But no, I had a good time with it. I don't recommend... Right, it's... I screwed up that sentence. It's not like I do recommend it. I think it is a good game. If you're a Zelda fan, you've probably already played it. And I do definitely think this... If you're a Zelda fan who did not like Breath of the Wild... Right, because Breath of the Wild is basically a Zelda game in name only... Like, yeah, it's got a few elements of Zelda, but it's very different, right? Breath of the Wild is very different than every other Zelda game. And if you're one of those people who didn't like Breath of the Wild because of how different it was, this is definitely a lot more like the traditional 2D Zelda. I definitely could see someone who likes traditional 2D Zelda, or who likes games like Ocarina and Wind Waker, but didn't jive with Breath of the Wild. I could see them jiving with this game, and this being a gateway to get them into Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I definitely can see this as, like, the game. Right, this is the midway point between Link's Awakening and Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like, this is the jive. Do I still like the idea that, I guess, in development, this was a Zelda Dungeon Maker at one point? Do I still really like that idea and hope Nintendo revisits it one of these days? Even though, knowing Nintendo, they very rarely revisit ideas unless they're like the Kirby developers. Yeah, I know that, but I'd still love a Zelda game. I would still love a Zelda Dungeon Maker one of these days. But no, I had a good time. Right? I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have fun. Yeah, 8 out of 10 seems fine. Will I replay it anytime soon? No. Definitely the next time I do want to play it, we will do it on stream. That's for sure. Because, yeah, now that I've played it once, next time I play it, it will definitely be a stream thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't blown away by it. It's a good Zelda game. Do I think it deserves, like, Game of the Year? No, especially, like, if it gets nominated at the Game Awards, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think it will. Like, I do think that, even though this game reviewed better than Black Myth Wukong, I think Black Myth Wukong has a higher chance of being nominated. But that's just kind of how it goes. So yeah, that's Echoes of Wisdom. It's a good game. It is. Oh, so we haven't really been talking about it, but my mother's been playing Skyward Sword, and she did her, and I went over for I went over there today, and family dinner and whatnot, and I was like, yeah, let's see where you're at. She was at the first Silent Realm. And I was like, okay, you're either going to get through this really quick, or we're going to be here for the next hour. She got through it on, like, her second try. She actually got through the Silent Realm really quick. She was struggling more with the swimming mechanics. Because, to swim, you have to, like, tilt your control... Right, it's like a flight stick, like a motion-controlled flight stick, where you gotta, to swim forward, to swim up, you gotta point your controller up. To swim down, you gotta point your controller down. She was struggling more with the swimming than she was the Silent Realm. But she did make it through. So yeah, and she had just gotten the quest to do the Water Dragon. There's a lot of other things that have happened since I think we last talked about it. Oh my god, her trying to get through the Lanayru mining facility. Oh boy, did she die a bunch and have to redo a bunch of rooms, and it was a nightmare from what I heard. She did not have a good time with the Lanay. Skyward Sword for her has been a very mixed bag, and it's not what you'd think, like, oh, she hates the motion controls. And it's like, yes, but also no. Like, she loves the sword, right? Like, being able to, like, waggle the sword, she loves that stuff. But anytime the game needs, like, precision, she really struggles. Anytime you have to, like, controlling the beetle works okay. She never, because, you're not at the whims of a control. She's using both Joy-Cons. I did have her try out using a controller. She didn't really like it, but I had to have her try it at least once. But yeah, she's at the whims of both Joy-Cons, and the idea of, like, the Joy-Con being, like, a cursor just doesn't really, like, compute with her. There's definitely something to do there with the accuracy of the controller themselves. But yeah, no, she's been getting through. She got through the Silent Realm fairly easily. The puzzle to get to the goddess statue in the Thunderdome, she got, like, once she realized, like, oh, this is how the puzzle works, she got through it almost immediately. Like, that puzzle was, like, no issue for her. Oh, wow, we actually have a few things. Yeah, Skyward Sword has been a mixed bag. She definitely, in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, I really liked Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And then I'm like, you know what? You know what I should have her after she finishes Skyward Sword, which she's still got a bunch of time in. I'd say she's a little under halfway, right? If she's just getting to the Water Dragon, I'd say that's a bit under halfway. The thing she's got to do next, I know it's like, oh, well, you know, have her try Echoes of Wisdom. And I've definitely thought about it. And might. But I was like, you know what? She's got to try Fire Emblem. Like, because that's where this whole thing started. This whole thing started with her reading a book about, like, magic and dragons and whatnot. And I was like, and I realized, like, that's Fire Emblem. And the only reason I didn't recommend Fire Emblem to her was because I've never played it. The only Fire Emblem game I've ever played is Awakening. But I think she might jive with Three Houses. I mean, it's not off the table. So yeah, well, we'll talk about it more in a future day. So that takes us to the outro. So what's coming up in the future? So I'm a moderate fan of Alpha Rad. I admittedly don't watch them too much, but I have. And they put out a video this week that was like, this video ends when I name all 1,025 Pokemon. And I watched that video, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that. Could I name... How many... You know, if I just had a random list, how many Pokemon could I actually name? And I, like, started to think about it in my head. I was like, well, okay, there's this one, there's that one. I could name that one, right? Like, I could think of a bunch of them. But then I was like, how much could I actually name? And I thought about booting up the website and just trying. And I was like, you know what? That would make a good stream. Maybe my original thought was for in chat tonight, I was going to do that. That was my original plan for in chat tonight. Was going to see if we could name every Pokemon. And then Nintendo announced an alarm clock, a play test. There was all this different food stuff I had to try. So that I was quickly like, no, we're not going to do that tonight. That's kind of off the table. We got to talk about this alarm clock, man. But I still kind of want to do that. I basically want to see, like, in 2 hours, how many Pokemon could I actually name? Because, well, I definitely don't think, because I think it took him 4 hours to get all 1,000. I definitely don't think I could get all 1,025. I still think I could get a good chunk in like 2 hours. So maybe tomorrow, because I do have the day off tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll sit down and for like an hour or two, we'll just see how many Pokemon I can name. I don't think I'll be able to get them all. Definitely not. And maybe we'll go longer than 2 hours. But I think just 2 hours is like my minimum. Just to see how many Pokemon I could name. Because, you know, I've caught them all. I have a living Dex in Pokemon Home. I've done numbers of other things. You know, I've been playing this franchise. Pokemon Crystal was my first game. I've got to at least be able to get a few. But my big thing is spelling. I am awful at spelling Pokemon names. But, you know, I want to try. So maybe tomorrow we might come on here and I might try to name all 1,000 Pokemon. I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about. And you say, well, oh, why not just do it for in chat next week? I mean, I could, but I also just kind of want to do it now. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to wait forever. I just kind of want to do it now and get it over with. Because it's been like all I think about this past week. Like, I'll randomly just be like walking around at work or, you know, working at my desk and just being like, oh yeah, Stunfisk. And Stunfisk makes me think of, you know, Minccino, Chinchino. Oh, but Galarian Stunfisk. Okay, there was Galarian Corsola. Its evolution, Cursula. Oh, but then there's Basculegion, who has a Hisuian form. Basculegion, Hisuian Zoroark, Hisuian Zoroark. And then that makes me think of Hisuian Braviary. And then going from there, Overquill, Quillfish. Manaphy, Fione, Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, Fuecoco. What's the second? What's Crocolore? Whatever Fuecoco's evolution is, which becomes Skeledirge. Meowscarada becomes Florigato, which becomes Prigatito, not in that order. Quaxley becomes Quaxavel? What's the middle stage of Quaxley? Oh my god, I don't think I know the middle stage of Quaxley. Because I want to say the only research I will do for that video, or for that stream, is watching his video. I feel like that's the only research I should be allowed to do. I legitimately have no idea what... Is it Quaxwell? Quaxwell? Quaxwell sounds right. I don't know. That has literally been rattling around in my brain. Thoughts like that for the past week. How, right, one Pokemon leads to a different Pokemon. And just been going over in circles. Because can I name them all? Can I remember the middle stage? Oh, what was the one that... There was one that tripped me up for like a day. Where I was just like, what is the middle stage? Maybe it was Sandile, Krokorok. The middle stage is... Not Sandslash. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was, yeah, I couldn't think of Sandile's evolution. I know it's Krokorok, but Crocolore? Then what's Fuecoco's evolution? It's definitely Croc something. Crocodile? Crocodile? I don't know. Maybe tomorrow we might be here on stream and we might do that. I might try to name every Pokemon. We'll see. We'll see. I'm curious to see if I can do it. Oh, you know which one it was? Tynamo and Electrike. What is the third one? Tynamo, Electrike. I cannot think of the third one. Duosion's a different one. Gen 5. That's the one that had been stuck in my head all week, and I don't know the answer. Tynamo, Electric. Maybe Electric is the second one. Electric is either the second or third one. We'll see tomorrow. I guess we'll see if I come back and do that. And then any other thing, right? Other than that, we'll be back for in chat. Again, we tried Fall Guys last week. It didn't work. Maybe we'll try again next week. The new Mario Party comes out next week, but I don't have any plans to do that on stream. No, that'll just... That's just me and my friends. We'll play that. And we'll have a good time. We'll do every board. And then we won't touch the game again for another year. Yep. Or until... right until the next one comes out. Because that's how it all... Because, right, like I was saying, we were playing Mario Party Superstars the other week. But I'm starting to ramble at this point. I think that's where we're round off for the night. God, my shoulder still hurts. I don't know why it hurts. It shouldn't hurt. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.